Well, since you showed my other kitty quite a bit of love in my last video, I figured I'd show you my other fantastic beast. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another new release review. And for today, we will be covering Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. So Fantastic Beasts 2, for the sake of shortening the name, was once again directed by David Yates. This time around it stars Eddie Redmayne, Jude Law, and Johnny Depp. And the story kind of, your Newt's in there, you're following Newt again, and Grindewald, Johnny Depp's Grindewald, he's doing bad stuff, and yeah, this one's really hard to pin down. I mean, even IMDb, for crying out loud, doesn't have an official synopsis. It just says, hey, it's the sequel to Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. There's no plot summary, it's just not there, because even poor IMDb can't figure out what's going on. We'll get to the positives first, okay? First and foremost is parts of the cast. It's not the same parts from the first movie that I enjoyed. This time around, my favorite characters were actually Johnny Depp and Jude Law as Grindelwald and Albus Dumbledore. Jude Law, he has that Dumbledore feel to him. He has that kind of, this just kind of like advice kind of given guy to him. I don't really know how to explain him. He just has that Dumbledore feel. He really does have it down packed. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's saying. He's just this all-powerful wizard that even this group of Aurors, who are, you know, wizards who kill bad wizards, they go to him saying, hey, you're the most powerful guy ever. Can you go take this guy out for us? And he's always doing what's right. So I really, really like Jude Law as Dumbledore. I just wish we got to see more of him because he really isn't in the movie all that much. Eddie Redmayne is Newt's commander. He's still super lovable. He's very quirky. You really enjoy seeing him do his thing with the beasts that are occasionally in the movie. And he's just a very likable personality. But I think Johnny Depp is actually probably the best part of this movie, and even though he's, again, not really in it all that much, he's just a super enjoyable character. He's very charismatic, he's very villainous, and he's very persuasive. Now, that being said, something I found interesting in this movie is I was kind of thinking in my head that Johnny Depp really, his character reminds me of someone, and then it kind of hit me because in this movie later on towards the end, they've referenced World War II, which hasn't happened yet. The movie is set in 1927, and then it kind of hit me that Johnny Depp's Grindelwald is actually this kind of Hitler-esque character. What he does is he rallies together a certain group of people with his hate speech in order to go and wipe out another group of people. That is essentially what happened, and they're kind of referencing it, and it might be a bit on the nose for some people, but I just kind of sat back and realized, like, wow, like, they're the same person. You kind of resonate with a lot more in the sense that it feels so real. Like, it's something pulled straight out of our reality. So I find it hits home that much more that this guy is bad and you really do not want to see him succeed. So I did kind of enjoy that they went that extra mile, and you kind of see it throughout the movie that this guy does not care for life whatsoever. Like, besides his group of followers, he does not care who lives, who dies, or who he kills. And then the list becomes pretty short after that. Visuals in this movie, just like the first one, are very nice, they're very touching, they're very well done, very smooth and polished. And the score, once again, it's magical. It really is. It blends wonderfully with the movie, just like it did for the past few movies, so there's no surprise there. The score, once again, like I said, magical. And lastly, for the positives, is the Harry Potter nostalgia. I'm a sucker for nostalgia, so that's why even some of the horrible prequels that are out there, I still am kind of like, I'm not a hater of the on-the-nose stuff. I'm kind of like, yeah, you know what that is. Dumbledore, obviously, he's back in it. You return to Hogwarts in this movie. Nicholas Flamel, who created the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone, depending on where you're from. That guy is in there, too, so kind of that on-the-nose Harry Potter stuff. I'm fine with it, and I enjoyed it, and honestly, it just made me want to go watch Harry Potter again, so I guess, in a sense, it kind of did what it was supposed to do. And now for the negatives. Damn it, this movie has a lot of negatives. Firstly, the biggest one, like I just said in the beginning of the video, what the hell is the story to this movie? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. J.K. Rowling, she's a phenomenal writer. We have the entire Harry Potter series, the book series, and she even wrote the first Fantastic Beasts, which was great as well. But I don't think she really knew what she was doing in this. It spent a lot of time on world building. It spent a ton of time on setup for sequels, with a big S on the end, and it just really didn't focus ever. Like, not once did it kind of gather all these bits and pieces and put it into a narrow stream and make you kind of realize, okay, it's coming together now. It never did. It just jumped from here to there to here to there. You can't even really pinpoint down who is the main character in this movie. It's all over the place. Next is that there was, like, no character development in this movie. Pretty much every single character in this movie, except for the new ones, are the exact same characters that they were in the first movie. as the series goes on, you expect these characters to progress, you expect them to grow, you expect new relationships to form, you expect to find out new things about these people, you expect them to do things that they didn't before, like you expect these things in a big series. The characters were the exact same as they were in the first one, just like carbon copies, just cut, copy, paste. And a little side note there, I do not like Nagini as a person. I hate that plotline. I just much prefer the snake to be a snake. It was a snake the entire Harry Potter franchise, not a single mention about it being a person, like Voldemort talked to it and stuff, but he was a Parseltongue, he couldn't talk to the snake. I don't like Nagini being a person, and they kind of just lazily said, oh yeah, she's cursed, and some point in time, we don't know when, some point in time, she will be a snake forever. And I think the worst part about this whole plotline thing is the fact that Grindewald is trying to recruit Credence from the first movie, played by Ezra Miller, and yes, he is back with like a little to no explanation. I thought he died. It looked like pretty set in stone that he died at the end of the first movie. It's not a spoiler, you see him in the trailers, and they don't give an explanation. They're like, yeah, he survived. Moving on. That's pretty much the point of the movie, so really, I feel like that could have been summed up in like a half an hour of a better movie, or even like shorter. It could have been like 20 minutes, like, hey, I have the answers to your problems, come join me, rather than just kind of this, give them little breadcrumbs and, you know, leave them wanting more. At least by the time we reached the end, it had me going, hey, we're setting up for a pretty good sequel. There's 3 more sequels? God. This franchise, instead of just being a nice solid trilogy, is gonna push it and give us 2 more movies after that trilogy. This is a 5-movie series. It really feels like they're pulling a Hobbit at this point. Side note, I do enjoy the Hobbit movies, but the Hobbit could have been like 1 or 2 movies. Instead, they stretched it to 3. It feels like this could have been a nice solid trilogy, and I can see the end. Like, I can picture the end after this movie's ending for the end of the 3rd one and having it being nice and clean and cut, but instead they're just gonna keep pulling and pulling and pulling and make it 5. And the last 3 positives, I'll just ride them off, boom, boom, boom. Firstly, the color scheme was really bland. I don't know, maybe that'll change when I have it 4K and the HDR kicks in, but from what I saw, the color scheme was just really bland in this movie. Next is the whole fact that there are like no beasts in this movie, like the Niffler's back. You meet this kind of underwater one for no reason, just to say, hey, there's a cool underwater one. And then you meet this other one that's kind of like a cat, dragon thing, and that's pretty cool too, but that's like it. There's like no beast, there's kind of no exploration more into that world and what Newt's doing, like with his book or anything. It's Fantastic Beasts, it's in the title, but there's barely any Fantastic Beasts. And the biggest negative I can probably give this movie aside from the story is that it's just boring. And that really, really sucks because I was super excited for this movie. Long story short, as I said in my review for the first Fantastic Beasts, I would rather watch any Harry Potter movie before Fantastic Beasts, and sadly, I would prefer to watch the first Fantastic Beasts over this sequel. So with all that being said, I'm going to be giving Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald a 6.5 out of 10. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know, have you seen Fantastic Beasts 2, and what did you think about it? Did you actually really love it, or were you kind of like in the majority and it was just meh? And as always, be sure to check out my social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. And be sure to check out my Instagram page every Friday for the Fan Vote Friday. The most recent one and the biggest one yet is going on right now. It is when you, the people, can vote and decide the next 5 weeks of content on my channel. So be sure to vote, vote, vote. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And that's a wrap. This is a house cat.